All right, good evening, and it's 8:40 in the evening of Sunday. I managed to find some time to do start my
It's
podcast about.
8:40 in the
Hold
evening
on,
of Sunday. I managed to find.
sorry, nag-live sa Facebook tapos um, so the audio was on. Okay, anyway, this is the first of the videos where I show my music collection. So it can range from vinyl records to compact discs to cassettes and even 8-track tapes and some other stuff like magazines, fanzines, and all that. Okay. For tonight's episode, I wanted to show and talk about my collection from the 1960s to the early 1990s. So you're not going to see any reissues here. These are stuff that I got back in the 70s or the 80s and even in the 90s, and some titles I got later on. Okay. Uh, we'll start off first with this one, Andrew E. And we had to fix the cover because it was just really badly mangled. And this is a rap album that came out back then. It's got that big hit single "Humanap Ka ng Pangit." A lot of the songs here were hit singles, Andrew Ford Medina, so this is pretty popular back then. And when it came out, to be honest with you, I wasn't really amused with it. I thought it was Badui and all that, and I didn't really get it. I only got this much later on. And when I did get it, I bought it. It wasn't in good shape, so we had to cure the cover. So we had to cut it out, just make sure that we could restore it. All right. So this one of the first rap albums. I mean, I'd say it's Francis Magalona, and then you have other stuff, but Andrew E should be right up there. Now, this is the Jollibee character songs, volumes one and two. It's like a double album, and this came out in 1984 and featured a lot of the Jollibee songs that they were playing inside the store. And I'm just happy to have this one. Okay. Uh, this is a local press of Super Friends, and I got this later on, and it wasn't in very good shape, and I just maintained it. So these essentially are compositions by John Williams, Vangelis, uh, and other artists who created the music of the DC universe, the Super Friends, and all that back in the 1980s. And this is a local pressing, so I'm just glad to have this as a comic book fan and as a fan of music. All right, all right. This is the Japanese pressing of Freddie Aguilar's Anak. I'm not sure if I told you the story of Freddie Aguilar and my dad. My father. My father was the president of the Philippine Association of the Record Industry. He was also the president of this corporation. This corporation released locally Casablanca Records, so that's Kiss, Terry Desario, Donna Summer, The Village People, Giorgio Moroder, Paul Jabara, and other bands, and other acts as well. Uh, Fanny, the Philam band of girls, was also under their label. And one day, this Japanese guy walked into his office and asked how he heard the song Anak while riding a taxi. And he was just so impressed. And for some reason, he found the office of the Philippine Association of the Record Industry. And it was sent V.V. Sullivan at the time. And he was able to speak to my dad. And my dad introduced him to Vic Del Rosario of Viva Records, and they helped put it out. So there, that's the simple story of uh, you know Freddie Aguilar's Anak and getting out there in Japan, and soon became an international hit. And this is the Japanese pressing of that, and I'm just happy to have this one. I should be thanking my father for this copy. Okay. Another of Freddie's albums from back then, Bayan Ko, Di Ka Nag-iisa. I'm not going to talk about his political persuasions today, but that was then. I don't have too many Up Hiking Society albums. This is one. This is the 10th anniversary album. And, this is like the greatest hits. That This is the first one that came before the best of Apo Hiking Society that came out towards the late 1980s. No? So, this one had Panalangin, O Giliw Ko, Nagmamahal Sa'yo, Batang Bata Ka Pa. Ito na, Bawat Bata ay Prinsesa, Lalala, Ewan, Kabilugan ng Buwan, and Doobie-Doo. Essentially, these are the hits of the Apo Hiking Society, almost all of it, di ba? Of course, they have more. Di ba? Wala pa dito yung mga American junk, di ba? So, yeah, this one's a hand-me-down from my dad. First my dad did every single OPM record that was put out then, at least during his time. No? And some of it I was able to get, and not very many, just some of it. The rest were lost to a fire. Most of them, my mom threw out, and it's just a tragedy, right? Now this one I bought. This is the first Apos Hiking Society album that I bought. The worst of the Apo Hiking Society. So this was at a concert at the Ultra, or Phil Sports as it's known today. And it was a controversial concert because during the time, they were taking shots to their songs and jokes. They were taking shots at the Marcos government. And it was kind of controversial. And, you know, uh, in fact, after that, they had a hard time getting gigs. And one of the places that only offered them a venue to perform was Ateneo, since they're all Ateneo graduates. And the late director, Bert De Leon, who did Going Bananas, Eat Bulaga, among many others, he offered a gen set to make sure and ensure that the concert would push through, because there were rumors circulating that the electricity would be shut off in the area. So the concert of the Apo Hiking Society, the first one after this one at the Ultra that was recorded here, would push through, because the rumors were circulating that the government didn't want them to be playing their songs and their puns and their skits against them. No? Mercifully, no. And I was there. I was there at the concert at the Loyola Center. No? But this became a bestseller also because of the songs. In American Junk, they were taking shots at the government, among others. And I'm really surprised that even Wea put it out, no? Because at the time Wea was ano yan, it was run by, ang sister company noon was Dyna Records, and they wala pa yung Polycosmic and Universal. It was just Wea and then Dyna. And the head honcho, Mr. D, was a massive Marcos supporter. So I'm very, very much surprised that they put this out. And so, may narinig tayong tumutunog dyan. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Next record. This one's from Asin. And this is the original press of Asin. This is not the reissue. Definitely not. And a story about Asin. During their 80s comeback, my dad organized a concert at a place called Ang Diwa ng Tarlac. It's a brand new multi-purpose center that could also be a concert venue. And that was Asin's comeback show, actually. And my dad produced it along with some other relatives. The place was packed. There were worries that, that it wouldn't be filled with people in D1 and Tarlac, and uh, it could seat around 2,000, 3,000 people. And I remember we went around yung Tarlac and the environment, the surrounding towns like Capas, and we would promote the show. And the tickets were printed on this abaca. It was really beautiful, and I still have a copy of that ticket to this day. I managed to save it. And the place was packed, and I met Lolita Carbon as a kid. And but I have to be very honest. I didn't really like the music because I was into punk and new wave and all that, and I just wasn't into folk music. I wasn't into Bob Dylan yet. I had heard Dylan songs, but some of it appealed to me, but I just didn't really like listening to folk music back then. But a live show is different because you see everyone performing. There's a lot of energy. The crowd is going nuts. It was a great show, and the concert lasted till about 10:30 in the evening, which is pretty late back then. Nowadays, when you have concerts, diba, or yung pag foreign show, they start early, 7 or 8. Pero pag local act, they start late in the evening. Mas gusto nila late. Yung foreign acts kasi they want to be done early so they can party and drink and all that. Diba? So Asin. Yeah. Now here's another record of Asin that was given to me by my friend Craig Burrows, and I got this as a sealed copy. And yun, sa atubiling panahon. I only began to really appreciate Asin much later on, so I'm happy to have this one as well. Okay. Aha, Ang Tindera by Nora Honor. Okay. One of her first records. And wow, this is in mono. And this is back in the 1960s. It's the 1960s press. And I'm just, I got this I got this only a few years ago for about uh, 200 pesos, if I'm not mistaken. And just, back then, you wouldn't catch me listening to this stuff or even having any of these records next to my punk and new wave and ska and reggae records. No way. But of course, as I got older, there's a better appreciation for OPM and Filipino music and all that. So I did get this. I did get this, and I'm very happy to have it. Okay. Yo, Nick. Good evening, man. All right. Ding Dong Avanzado. As you can see, it's signed by Ding Dong. Si Ding Dong Avanzado, kalaro ko mag-basketball yan dati dito sa Moro Lorenzo in Ateneo. But he's not from Ateneo, he's from Lasal. Kundirana member yan si Ding Dong. And he would join our group. We played on Wednesdays and then Saturdays, and he would always be there. And that's how I became friends with Ding Dong, and I met him. And this one contains a song Tatlong 25, which is the hit single there, and then it all says Ikaw Lamang and Come On Dance With Me. Tatlong 25 was written by Rani Raimundo, and that was the big hit here. I got Ding Dong to sign this a couple of years ago when one of the bands that I manage, Remborak, opened for a show of his here at SM Sky Dome. Diba? So I had to get him to sign this record. It was that important. No? And the funny thing is, when you were playing basketball, I never got him to sign even my cassettes. No? But when you're older, you're more cognizant about these things, and it's pretty cool to get him to sign it. No? And considering we're old friends and all that. No? Okay. So tonight is my OPM collection from the 1960s to, yes, 1960s. I'm not that old. Well, I am old. But I wasn't buying records in the 60s. I started buying records in 1979. But as early as 1977, nabibigyan na ako ng plaka ng father ko. Joe Bataan. Joe Bataan. This is Joe Bataan is half Filipino, and this is really good stuff. It's soul, R&B, you know, and I understand that he performed here a few years ago, and I'm kicking myself for missing that. Sayang, he's getting in on the years, and so I do have a few of his albums here, Afro Filipino. Look at that one. These are all. This one is pressed in the Philippines. This one is pressed abroad. Okay, and so even back then, people knew who Joe Bataan was. No, okay. I have the reissues. They're not here. They're in the other. Nandito yan. No, sorry. They're up here. So we will revisit those reissues in another podcast. Okay. Bayanihan Sings got this for about 200 pesos. These are just old Filipino songs, and I just really wanted to have this. Dalagang Pilipina, Bayanihan, it's an instrumental. Chit Chirit Chit, diba? Alibang Pang, diba? Nice to have this. Okay. This is Blackbuster, Black Not Block, Blackbuster, salsa, non-stop salsa music. Yeah. So this is pretty neat. The Blackbuster was Sunny Ilacad, Snafu Rigor, Bob Guzman of Boyfriends, Gig Ilacad, Celso Larina, Willie Cruz, and Spanky Rigor. And so parang VST, Boyfriends, and different artists all together, putting out a salsa record. This is back in the 1970s, 1979. Yeah, so I got this recently from DJ RB Bulaong. He was selling this, and I'm just happy to have it. I used to see this because my dad would play it. Uh, but I really don't know what happened to my dad's record of it. Of course, back then, it was so baduy, di ba? Baduy talaga. But now that I'm older, it's not baduy. I actually dig it. I dig that stuff. And blue jeans, di ba? All right. This is my dad's record that I managed to get from him. Medyo na water damage because of the fire, but it's in good shape, in terrific shape. Na. May slight water damage yung cover. Very, very slight, but you wouldn't really notice it. Na. Boyfriends, Dahil Mahal Kita, the debut album. Okay, nandito yung songs. Yun nga, Dahil Mahal Kita, Nais Kong Malaman Mo. Diba? So this was their debut album. And they were the first of these Bee Gees sounding bands, and then VST and Company came out and kind of blew them out of the water. You know, this is the follow-up album. This is a time when they both albums. This one, Dahil Mahal Kita, and this one came out in 1978. Can you believe that? 1978, diba? So this is like if you look at the Beatles, they would put out what, 2 records a year. So it was just really like that. Now it takes years for people to produce records, and they're not that prolific. But back then, the 60s, 70s, even parts of the early 80s, people were very prolific, putting out albums, a bunch of records in a year. This was the big one. Sumayaw Sumunod, Ala-ala, Araw-araw, di ba? Tayo'y Magsaya, di ba? This is the big one. And the albums that came after this, I don't have it anymore because, well, ito naman yung the two boyfriends albums that you really need to have. No? Teresa Carpio, uh, she was a staple on 99.5 RT, her music, along with the New Minstrels and other artists. And that's how I discovered a lot of OPM. Aside from listening to I only listened to DZRJ and 99.5 RT. But RT was playing a lot of Teresa Carpio, and I told myself, I gotta get this one. So here, I have it. First album from Celeste Legaspi, Pop Songs. Yeah, this is a really beautiful one. She sings songs that are translated by Rolando Tino. Just really beautiful stuff, you know. And that's my dad's record that I inherited from him. The same thing with this one, Ako at si Celeste. And, you know, back in the 70s and the 80s, you know, I'd wake up on a Saturday when there's no school. I'd wake up on a Saturday and I'd go out into the living room to the sala and I'd, I'd see Celeste Legaspi, Gary Valenciano, Noel and Subas, Florante, Freddy Aguilar, kung sino-sino. No? Minsan, tumatawag pa, ganyan. So, but because of my dad being in the music industry, so it was a thrill to see Celeste Legaspi. And, you know, just had Tuliro, which is one of the big hits here, di ba? And of course, Saranggola ni Pepe, which is probably what she's best known for, Saranggola ni Pepe. And I talked about Bert De Leon, who lent a generator to the organizers of the Apo Hiking Society concert at Loyola Center in Ateneo. And he he produced this album, Ako at si Celeste. So not only was Sir Bert a music man, but he was also a director of TV shows and films. Diba? Talagang all around. Yeah. Jose Marichan, I cannot tell you that I got this from my dad. No, I bought this. I bought this from someone in Olongapo. Guess for how much? I bought it for 500 pesos from someone in Olongapo. Diba? So, and this is a really beautiful album. No? Um, yeah, he just does a little different stuff here, Jose Marichan. Of course, it's Can We Just Stop and Talk a While, which is very, very beautiful and one of my favorite songs. And um, he does some bossa nova also here. He's just such a talented individual, Jose Marichan. And I met him on numerous occasions because him and my dad are very good friends. And I did get to write about him for FHM magazine, which is a dream come true. And I had a podcast with him early in the pandemic, man. One of the best podcasts, if not the best podcast I've ever had. And it was so enjoyable. It helps because when you know him, you know, so at times I felt I was the one being interviewed by Jo Marie Chan. He's a incredible person, you know. Okay, this one, yeah, Constant Change, the one of the best-selling albums of all time when it comes to OPM, and almost every song here was a hit. And this one, okay, yung kopya ko nito cassette, hindi plaka. My dad, of course, had the record, but I think my mom threw it out. Uh, this copy, you know, I instructed the Botejari guys in the neighborhood. I told them that, you know, whenever you go out, if someone sells you stuff and they sell you records you want to dispose of, daan nyo sa akin before bringing them to the junk shop. Got this for $50. And it's an excellent, excellent shape, even the vinyl. Believe it or not, di ba? Suerte, di ba? One man's junk is another man's gold. That's my story of that one. Di ba? And Circus on tour. Oh, grabe. Saw this band back in the day. Um, Hotel Intercon, if I'm not mistaken. Hotel Intercon. Yeah, Hotel Intercon. Uh, my dad kasi would take me to watch all these shows. No? The first time uh, pop folk pop group America, or Porcelain No Name, Ventura Highway. The first time they performed here in the Philippines was at the Folk Arts Theater, and my dad took me to watch that. The Little River Band, when they came over here, we watched them as well. We also watched Filippo Lippi the first time they came over. So my dad would just take me to a lot of shows. Christopher Cross, the first time Christopher Cross came here. I don't. I think he came here twice or something. But the first time we watched him, and at the time he received a Grammy for Best New Artist, Best Album, and all that. And he had only 9 songs on his album. Imagine doing an entire show in what, under an hour or an hour at the most. Kasi hindi naman ganun kahaba yung songs niya. So first encore, he had to perform again, Ride Like the Wind and Sailing, the two biggest hits on the album. But that was a memorable show. Very, very memorable show. Okay. Oh, Monet Pura is watching. Brutus is also watching. Alam mo, hindi ko kasi makita the new algorithm of Facebook kasi. Uh, Magpa-pop up lang yan pag nag-comment kayo. But kung may mga nagla-like and all that, I'm not gonna see them. But let me try and open it from my phone. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see who's watching. Hindi ko makita. Ah, Mac of my band Eslen Borak. Mac, kumusta? One of my students, Diane, is watching. Monet Pura, the better half of Chikoy Pura, a really good friend. Thank you for watching. Yeah, sila lang yung nakikita ko so far. I'm sure there are others. Thank you for watching. We're here talking about my vinyl collection from the 1960s to the early 1990s. And please take note that I didn't get all of this back then because even if I was born in 1966, I was too young to be buying any records. I started acquiring records at around 1977, but I started buying my first records when I was in 6th grade in 1979. Okay? So Circus, I got to see these guys perform. And, it's nice to have this record. Yan yung mga campus stars back then. Jimmy Cruz. Yeah. Nice to have this one, Timmy Cruz. Of course, di ba? Si Ate Shawi. And I have a story here. My sister went to St. Paul's Pasig for grade school and high school. And sometimes sasabay ako sa pagsundo because only for a glimpse of Sharon Cuneta. She went to school in St. Paul's Pasig. And she was already a star back then. So, and nakita ko rin, di ba? So parang, yeah, I had this major crush on Sharon Cuneta. I would go with my mom to the market on Saturdays. Dito sa may Murphy, yung palengke sa Murphy. Kasi doon sa farmers, wala ka makikita nagbebenta ng song hits. So nagbebenta ng song hits dito sa Murphy. And that's where they also had those posters. They'd sell posters and 5 piso yata isa nun. Yeah, that was a lot of money back then. Back in the day, that was a lot of money. So, and I think song hits are like 1 peso, if I'm not mistaken, mga ganun, no? Eh, yung poster kasi malaki, di ba? So, I bought one of Sharon. Then I remember, because in my room, double-decker bed kami ng brother ko, and I stayed below, my brother stayed on top. And dun sa bed ng brother ko, syempre may kahoy yan, di ba? So I'd put Sharon's poster there. So when I lie down, I'm looking at her poster. Now, later on, when I was in advertising, a commercial that we shot was at the condo that they owned here in Pasay. So, of course, hoping for a glimpse, pero wala, hindi na siya doon nakatira. Di ba? Yeah. Ayan. Okay. The Swooners. This is si Bosho, Edmund Fortuno. So this album. This was this band in Japan, the Swooners, and look at that. Look at Look at the hair, man. Look at the outfits. Very psychedelic. So they released an album, and it featured cover songs, no? Dock of the Bay from Otis Redding, diba? Cream. They even did Hello, I Love You from the Doors, When a Man Loves a Woman, things like that. And Sound of Silence from Simon and Garfunkel. Um, they even did Light My Fire from the Doors. No? So this is amazing. I have their follow up album here, but you'll see that in another episode. Okay. Dakila. This is a Filipino American band based in San Francisco. And they were one of those bands that were inspired by Santana coming out during Woodstock. They're that incredible. They were the breakout stars of Woodstock, Santana. And so Dakila is a Filipino American band. Not all of them have Filipino lineage. Some are Americans. And, you know, here, let me show you. And, diba? This is a really good album. I absolutely love this. And I have two copies of this, because I'm afraid I'm going to wear it out. And I keep playing it. And look at the back. Mayon Volcano, diba? Yeah, so Dakila. No? And I wrote an article about them. I wrote about them about probably a year before the pandemic. Because I'm hoping that some local promoter will bring them over here for a show. Yeah, and here's the 7-inch single, El Dubi. Mono pa, oh, mono. Yeah. Now, look at the flip side B of this one is kind of hilarious, okay? Language lesson. No, that's not a song. This is meant, uh, it's how to pronounce the names of the members because some of them have Filipino names. Not all of them are Americans, diba? So this is meant for the DJs to listen to so they know how to pronounce the names of the Filipino Americans in this band. So yun, nakila. Uh, yan, sa mga fans ng Santana, di ba? The Dawn, 12-inch single, envelope ideas signed by the band. Di ba? This is the first one released when Envelope Ideas came out. There's a 7-inch single and this one, the remix version, before their full length album came out. And I also have the 7-inch single of this one. You'll see it in another video that we will do. Okay, The Dawn. But I got this one, but I wasn't able to buy their debut until a few years later, no. Parang kasi hindi naman na out of print eh. You could find it in the record shops, no. The first Dawn record that I ever bought is this one, the Dawn Live. Uh, yeah. And ito, 'di ba? Parang wow, 'di ba? It's not like wala mga live albums noon, but wow, 'di ba? Wow. May live album yun the Dawn. So ito yung binili ko. Then after I bought this, then I got this, 'di ba? Hindi naman siya out of print noon eh. Makakabili ka talaga. And I remember even in 1981 or 82, if I go to Music Land in Alimol, you would still find copies of Maria Cafra, Juan de la Cruz Band, Mike Hanna Paul. It was just all there for people to buy. And you know, uh, I wasn't really buying OPM back then. Not too much. Not too much. Oh, I would. But syempre, di ba, I would buy the new wave and punk records. No? Yeah, so this is the first Dawn record that I ever got, and I got this later on. Yeah, almost right after I got the live album. Diba? And, yeah, the Dinosaurs, Pinoy Beatles, diba? They were a big hit back then. They performed Beatles songs sung in Tagalog, diba? This is Vic Generoso, Tony Generoso, Walter Pennington, Dan Villarosa, uh, Boy Katungkan, and Giorgio Domingo. Diba? So they actually have two albums. I don't have the other one. This is the only one that I have. Arguably the best one. Original pressing of Ella de Rosario. I do have the reissue, but it's always nice to have this original one. Diba? Um, Friend of my father's also got to watch Hot Dog many times over, different places. No? Saw them in different places. Manila Hotel, they had concerts at Ultra, even at Araneta Coliseum. Diba? So, yeah, as a kid, I met the band, and several years ago, I renewed acquaintances with Ella. She's living now in the U.S., Texas, if I'm not mistaken. So, hopefully, I can get that article soon. Yeah. Oh, Pinoy Jazz, Bobby Enriquez. Yeah. Got to see him perform back in the day, Bobby Enriquez. And of course, I didn't, I mean, I knew it was Bobby Enriquez, but when you're a kid, you don't really know. You just take things for granted. Diba? But saw Bobby Enriquez perform. And it's only later on that, much, much later on, that when I started going for this music, I would, like, oh my God, I saw Bobby Enriquez. And I said, hey, Dad, do you have your Bobby Enriquez records? He said, yeah, some of it, but we've lost a lot of it. So I had to reacquire a lot of them. Okay. Uh, okay. More Bobby Enriquez. I do have a lot of his records. This one's pressed in Japan. This is with Richie Cole. Yan. So, ilalabas ko na muna. Prodigious Piano by Bobby Enriquez. Live in Tokyo. Imagine that. Live in Tokyo. Ricardo. They're one of my favorites. Jazz, baby. Jazz music. Okay. Live concerts by the sea. Diba? Yung native album niya, 220. And Wild Piano. This is in order of the release. I'm missing probably three of his records. And he's an amazing pianist, and he was playing jazz at the time, and it's just really beautiful to hear. I'm not saying that modern jazz is not, but I just prefer the kind of jazz music. Okay. More stuff here. Eva Eugenio Tukso. What a cover, huh? What a cover. That's a massive hit back then. Yeah. Ito yung mga jukebox queens back in the day. Along with Claire Legaspi, diba? And Claire de la Fuente. Claire de la Fuente, what I say. Pinagsama ko yung Celeste Legaspi, but ayan yung mga jukebox queens natin, di ba? Okay. Hagibis. Our answer to the village people. And sayang, hindi ko napasign to kay Sonny Parsons, the late Sonny Parsons. That's Sonny Parsons. He was my neighbor. When we moved here to Industrial Valley in Marikina, he was our next door neighbor, like three houses away. Three houses, and he was the president of our homeowners association at the time. And songs were written by Mike Hanupol. All of them were written by Mike Hanupol. He had some help from Joey De Leon and a few others, but it's mostly Mike. And this is their debut album. Sorry about Sonny Parsons. One of the last films that he shot before he became a counselor here in Marikina. They shot it right here in our house, in the garage, no? Yung eksena, dito mismo. And I went to watch the film. I don't even remember the name. All I know is that it was terrible. I went to watch it Ocean Theater in corner of Eds and Cubao, and it was packed with people. But I was just so not comfortable. I just wanted to see if the house. Just wanted to see the house, and they did. Babaw na. Then after I saw it, I got out. Awiting Filipino, Mike Hanapol, obviously signed by Mike. Yan. Promotional copy from my dad. Yan. Pag ganyan, may butas, promotional copy yan. Diba? Or they would put a sticker here that says promotional copies. Copy and most of my Eraserhead CDs have label that says promotional copy kasi binigay sa akin ng BMG Records. So, yeah. Ayan. Ian Hero. This is by pianist Eddie Munhi. But he recorded also under the name Ian Hero and his orchestra. Ito yung sagot natin sa mga Ray Conniff singers, di ba? So, this is the late Eddie Munhi. And I have 4 of his records, and yeah, they were just performing popular songs, doing instrumental versions. Ito siguro yung mga pinapatugtog sa mga lounges, sa mga elevators, and you know, shit that I don't really like. But I have to have it in my collection. Okay. Hotdog, unang kagat, yes, in superb condition. Nandito yung first love, ikaw ang Miss Universe ng buhay ko. Di ba? Ganda nito. Really good album. No, this is not the reissue. I don't even have the reissue. I have no intentions of getting it. I'm fine. I have the original. Oh, one of my prize records through the years, Identity Crisis, Tale of Two. Yeah. I got to see them perform at the Ultra um, October Storm, sponsored by Gold Eagle Beer, if I'm not mistaken. They were with Rage. And there's one more band who I can't remember now, but they performed there. And may pagka-goth, so they had really good songs like Imagining October, diba? Sumigaw Umawit Ka, that I really love. My Sanctuary. And siguro mga 4 years ago, 5 years ago, I met 3 members of the band. We met up at Magallanes Commercial Center, Starbucks, and I interviewed them for a story. And it was just really cool meeting Cool Carla. Diba? Absolutely cool. And Identity Crisis in superb, superb shape. Yeah. Okay. And speaking of superb shape, here's a record that came out in the 1960s. Jose Marie Gonzalez, Electromaniacs Lover's Guitar. Now, John Marie owned the studio, but he did not perform this band. It's just like he managed them or something like that, help produce the record. The 4 dudes that you see there, that's John Marie Gonzalez. And these 4 dudes were actually, ayan, parang guitar combo, parang sagot natin sa mga The Shadows, di ba? Ayan. I actually have 3 copies of this. 3, yeah. And why do I have 3? I just wanted to try to get as many as I could, di ba? Because sayang naman, then, hopefully if someone wants a copy, I'll trade it, but not this one, which is in superb shape, di ba? Incredible shape. Now, before this came out, ito, ang speed nito, 78 RPM. It's a 12-inch record of the Electromaniacs. Dyna yung tatak. Dyna. Diba? 78 RPM, man. 78 RPM. Yeah. So and it's a 10-inch record. 10-inch. Can you believe it? Back in the 60s, he put out a 10-inch record with this. Yeah. And it preceded Lover's Guitar. Oh, Lilith. Yeah. And 50 pesos. Landmark. National Bookstore. Yeah. 50 bucks. So when I started buying records, local records, they cost 24 pesos for 12-inch records, and then naging 25 yan. Yung mga double LP, 45 pesos or 48 pesos. Ang 7-inch single was 5 pesos. Diba? Yan, 50 bucks, nandiyan pa yung label. Diba? Nakakatuwa. Ayan, makikita mo, 50 pesos. Yeah, and who didn't have a crush on Lilith back then? Absolutely beautiful lady. Okay. Ikabod, dagang sosyal. Diba? Big fan of Ikabod back then. I have one of the mini pocketbooks of Donnie Marcelo na Ikabod. And it's a treat to have it to this day. Okay. Juan de la Cruz Band, Himig Natin, signed by the three of them. Yeah, nasira yung original jacket, so I had it photocopied in UP. Diba? And then, medyo nasira yung cover. Pero, yung likod nito, yung original, diba? Ito mga for promotional purposes only. Diba? Ayan. Another of those Juan de la Cruz records, diba? This is the live ko, no? Hindi naman live, linagyan na ng sound effects, diba? Parang pang bootleg. Hold on a second. Okay. Mascara, Juan de la Cruz. This is not the one with the perforated cover where you could see their eyes. And there are two editions of this one. I'm not sure which came first, but yeah, okay. Mascara. The first, it's the first OPM record that I ever bought. Juan de la Cruz bands, kahit anong mangyari. Musicland Alley Mall. And the band had a signing for this at the Araneta Coliseum. They were to perform during their launch. But, I only got them to sign this several years ago. Several years ago. Um, and signed nila. Even in the cover, signed. Nung nag-sign sila dito at different iterations. The last one to sign this was Wally Gonzalez, who was abroad most of the time. And they had come back. He had come back in time to perform dun sa full blast Pinoy super bands. And he was the last one to sign it. So, ayan, pretty cool, di ba? Siyempre, si Pepe na una, dahil si Pepe, matagal na natin kailangan si Pepe. Di ba? Okay. All right. The Manila Concert, 1973. Bootleg. And just nice to have this one. Yeah. Kuladesma, Coos Magic. Very interesting story here. The first record label she went to was my dad's label, this corporation, and my dad really liked Cool Desma from the get-go, wonderful voice and all that. But he asked, "Can you wait about a year or so? No, would you be willing to wait?" Because that was the time when Claire de la Fuente, diba, Eva Eugenio, they ruled the airwaves with their songs, and And she didn't want to wait, no? So she went to Black Gold and became a star. One of my dad's biggest regrets. More of her stuff. Ako ay Filipino. Di ba? Wonderful condition. Uh, double album. Di ba? Galing. Ikaw kukuha ka ng plaka, alagaan mo na rin, di ba? My favorite album of hers, Unforgettable. Yan. Okay. Let's see. Hi, Kim. Good evening. Thanks for watching. Okay. Now, this is a really cool one. I got this in late 2020. This is Letty de Boon Sings in New York. And a friend of mine, Bob Araneta, had this one. He runs this excellent bookstore at Cubao X called The Black Cat. And he sells records also. And this is one of them. This is classical music, classical stuff. And I reached out to the family. Unfortunately, Miss Letty passed away na along with her husband. I was able to talk to the kids, no? Pero yeah, I wanted to write about this. Well, maybe we still can. Yeah, this is classical music. And speaking of classical music, Cecil Licad, diba? Yan. Classical music once more. Yeah, nice to have that one. Okay, one of the prized ones in this collection. This is Local Brown. Yeah. Oy, Monet, if you're watching, alam mo tong album na to, Monet. Andito yung kaibigan natin si Chico Ipura, di ba? Ayan. Wow, this is a landmark record. Really good record. Ayan. The very best of Parada Pilipino, the Malabon Brass Band. And these are marches, man. This is what they play during town fiestas and stuff like that. By the famous Malabon Brass Band. And I'm just, look at that, Marcha Filipino, Marcha Ilocano, Marcha Bicolano, lahat na lang na marcha meron sila. Diba? So, pretty cool to have that as well. Now, the next one you're gonna see was never released commercially. So only a few hundred copies were pressed. They were intended to be given away to friends, and it's by the Tony Bennett of the Philippines, Mr. Arthur Manuntag, the late Arthur Manuntag, who passed away a few years ago. This is his timeless album. And what an excellent voice, Um, if I'm not mistaken, this was recorded abroad, and look at the songs there. He sings a lot of the classics, and he's got an excellent voice. So, uh, now a lot of these records were left in a bodega, and when they were left in a bodega, nakapatong-patong, and which is a sure way for them to get warped. This is one of those copies that isn't warped, plays excellently, does not have any wave, and I'm just so happy to have this one. Timeless from Arthur Manuntag. Maria Cafra, their debut album, and uh, I nasira yung cover nito because I got this from someone in Dasmariñas, Cavite for 500 pesos only. Diba? So, okay na. Diba? Okay na. At least meron original. Sabi ko nga earlier, diba, nakikita ko yan sa racks ng Musicland, pero hindi ko kinukuha. Diba? Kasi my dad had one, so there was no impetus to get one as well. No? But I had no idea naman my mom would throw them out. You know. All right, some really cool records to have. Master Plan. Yeah. I have all their 7-inch singles as well. I have a complete set of all their 7-inch singles. And another 12-inch single from Master Plan. Okay. The solo album of the guitarists from the Dawn, their Japanese guitarist at Sushi Matsura, Incubus. Tried to interview him for an article in this. Ang daming pakeme-keme. Bahala kung ayaw magpa-interview, diwag. Di ba? Dahil pang mga tanong at kung ano-ano eh. Hindi naman tayo mag-chismis. So ayaw may diwag. Di ba? This is uh, Johnny Midnight had a show on IBC 13 back in the day. And when this came out, he went to the house and they gave my dad a copy. And this is that copy. Yeah, pati yung triangle na yun, yung pyramid na yan, binigyan kami na yan, di ba? So, I have no idea what happened to that pyramid. I have no idea. Oh, Willie Nepomuceno, di ba? Sabi ko, yung New Minstrels, got to see them in multiple occasions. The Manila Hotel, Hotel Intercon, my dad used to take me. And they were a staple of what they were playing for OPMs and 99.5 RT. If I am not mistaken, they are from Sandeda, tong New Minstrels. No? I have a couple of their stuff, but I have their Christmas album, and you won't see it here because it's grouped together with all the Christmas stuff. Yeah. Galing, di ba? This is my one and only from Pilita Corrales. Great songs from Filipino movies. Wow. So this the theme song from Inday Garuta is here. Erap is my guy. Can you believe that? Diba? Lord give me a lover. Diba? Araw-araw, gabi-gabi. Yes, I remember that one. Bato sa buhangin. Diba? Tatlong kasalanan. Yes, I remember that one. So take a look at the back of it. Diba? So these are the songs that Pelito Corrales is singing. Theme songs of these Filipino movies back in the 60s and the 70s. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, it's the only one I have from Pilita. Hopefully, I can get a few more. My dad used to have a complete set of that one. Okay, Pearl Harbor. You're probably wondering. Well, she's Filipina or Phil-Am, and she came out with this band back in the new wave '80s called Pearl Harbor and the Explosion. So this is that one. Don't follow me, I'm lost too. Yeah, and so funk band, please. They were stars in Germany. It's a really good funk album. Pinoy funk, man. Look at that one. Diba? So I have their 7-inch singles as well that were put out in Germany. And yeah, really good funk and soul band. This is a cool one to have, June Polistico. The best of Philippine love songs, June Polistico. Just happy to have this one. Dami pa, hindi pa tayo tapos dito. Di ba? Debut album of the first ever album of Rico J. Puno. Di ba? Yan. Napakagandang album. And For we also have history with Rico J. Puno. Um, Around the time that this came, no, his second album came out, because remember, as I said earlier, artists would put out like two records a year, no? And my dad and my uncles brought Rico Puno to the United States for a tour. In if you've been following me on Facebook, I posted a picture of me with a poster, one of two existing posters of Rico J. Puno's tour of the United States. And he was the first major Filipino artist to tour the United States back in the 1970s. And yeah, and that's an amazing one. You should all check it out on my Facebook. Just type Rico J. Puno, Rico Olivares, and that's going to come out. Really good stuff there. Uh, no, I can't play this, Kim. If I play it, I'm going to get shut down by Facebook because someone owns the rights to these, so I cannot play it. No. Uh, okay. Society of Seven. This is a Filipino American group based in Hawaii. The father of singer Martin Rivera is here. Mr. Bert Rivera is part of this group. Diba? Uh, Tony Rui Vivar, who is an uncle of a friend of mine from Ateneo, is also part of that group. Mhm. Ay, teka. Napatalon pa ako. Sorry. Hindi pa muna dapat yon. Dito muna tayo sa Rico Puno. Yan, Rico Puno. More Rico Puno stuff. Yan. I have a few of his records. The Total Entertainer. It was after this album that came out that they went on tour. 1977. Yeah. It was a four-city tour of the United States. Four lang. Kasi bago lang naman yung time yun. Oh, cha-cha. Kung kanina may salsa tayo, ngayon may cha-cha tayo from the Ramrods. Okay. Yeah, I appreciate that stuff already, but back then, no, man. Oh, this is probably the oldest record that they have. RJ and the Riots. Yeah. The teenage touch of RJ and the Riots. Wow. So, like I showed with the Electromaniacs earlier, this is a guitar instrumental band. Okay, so, man. This is Ramon Jacinto, Jimmy Colaico, Alan Austria, and Bernie Evangelista. Yan, mga teenagers lang sila ng time na yan. Okay. The Rockefellers, this is a Filipino-American band. They did pretty well until the British invasion knocked them out. It had the one-hit song Killer Joe. Pretty nice to have it. Look at that. Pretty cool, huh? Pretty cool. Sampaguita, yeah, the debut album. I did a video on this where it was sealed and I opened it, and a lot of people saying, "Oh, don't open it." Why would I not open it? I would, I would collect records so I can put it on the shelf, or for the value. I don't really care about the value. I buy my records because I love them. Diba? I want to play them. Diba? So you can stick your value wherever the sun don't shine. Diba? Oh, Sampaguita. Ito nabili ko kailan lang. Wala na, this is one of those, her last albums sa ngayon. Diba? Yan. I think I got it for about 1,000 pesos if I'm not mistaken. Diba? Society of Seven, yan. Bumalik tayo dito. It's a group from Hawaii. Yan, diba? So, nandito yung father ni Martin Rivera, si Bert Rivera. So, I have two of the records. They're a pop band. Okay. Just a few more from those original records back in the day. Okay. Universal Motion Dancers, a 12-inch single. Yan. Universe, Light of Peace, jazz stuff. Gary Valenciano, di bali na lang, 12-inch single. And my original record of Moving Thoughts. This is not the reissue, this is the original pressing back then. And mm, the first show of Gary V that I ever went to watch was at the old Rizal Theater where Glorieta is now. Uh, Glorieta 3, if I'm not mistaken. No, yeah, and in that show, he that was the where they introduced si Banig, uh, Banig, the singer Banig, this young girl, diba? And that blew our mind. I went with my girlfriend to watch that show, and he performed a lot of the songs from this album. That was my first Gary V show ever, Rizal Theater, diba? And I also did get the reissue, yeah, so I have a copy of it too. Best of Basil Valdez. Story about Basil. Uh, before he was with Circus, and you know that I have a record of Circus band. When he got his professional start, he was singing at a steakhouse here in Tomas Morato that was owned by my Tito Rohel. It was called Sacred Cow. Sacred Cow, that was the name of the steakhouse. And Basil Valdez would sing there. And when we go there, it's just really great to meet Basil Valdez because he was starting to make a real big name for himself back then. Imagine that, singing in a steakhouse, right? And Ten of Another Kind. This is special because this is the first uh, mainstream compilation. Kasi you can say it's the first mainstream compilation. Ay, you can say it's the first compilation kasi yung Twisted Red Cross ni Tommy Tanchanko naglalabas ng cassette compilations, di ba? Like yung Rescue Ladders. Ito yung linabas ng major label. And the reason why this is special is because it's also by my high school band Under Blue Skies. I performed with them for a while, but not for with this recording. No? We went from being all classmates in Ateneo to about three of them left by the time they recorded this one. And of course, nandito yung Ethnic Faces, Dean's December, di ba? Violent Playground, Intro Voice, di ba? This is the original press, by the way. And I did get the repress for that one. Okay. All right. This is the Champoy soundtrack from my dad. And his longtime Ateneo classmate was Noel Trinidad. I think from prep to college, they were classmates. Subas, not so much classmates, but magbarkada yan. And around the time that they put up the show Champoy, my dad would also write in and send his jokes, no? And of course, he gave him a copy of the record and unfortunately nasira, di ba? So, eto na lang, hindi ko na kasi, bakit nasira? When we when we moved homes from Cubao to here in Marikina, um, my dad would place all his records in this cabinet. It still exists. It's just across me. He'd put a lot of his records there. And then the records that did not fit, because he had a lot of records, he had thousands of records. Diba? He put it inside a cabinet. And, after a while, napapabayaan. But, hindi naman dapat masira. But the only thing that you're really worried about is the humidity. But back in the day, it wasn't as hot as it is today. And they were fine. But I think to make some space, they put some stuff out. And for some reason, nasira yung cover. Hindi ko talaga alam bakit nasira. It's sad because hindi ko na-save. I wish I saved it. I really wish I did. Uh, Handog ng Pilipino sa mundo. Uh, this is that record that my dad got back then. This is that copy. This is during the EDSA revolution, the post-EDSA revolution. No? Um, Just happy to have that. This is the English version of that record. Yeah, yeah. Pero kasama yung rage dito, imagine that. Yeah. This is a record that I'm really happy to have. Happy Hippie Holiday. It's a soundtrack. This is a film starring Jay Ilagan and Hilda Coronel, diba? And Ed Finlan, diba? So this is really great stuff. This is 60s, what? Parang fifth dimension stuff, music. Galing. I love this record. Absolutely love it. You know, I think we had a really great music scene. We still do, diba? And it's just really cool to hear our versions of soul music and all that stuff. Diba? Oh, Jessel, my old friend Jessel Baltasar is watching. Jessel is now based in Canada. He's another dude who had a great collection, diba? So, ang kaibigan ni Jessel kasi yung brother ko si John and my cousin Donald. And but when they told me that Jessel had a great collection, I would go to his house in Saint Ignatius Village. No, tama, Jessel, tama. No, so he's another dude who has an impressive collection as well, diba? And ayan. And his indie collection is incredible. Grabe yung mga records ni Jessel. Nakakaingit. Keep up the good work, Jessel. Okay. I love this record. I play this from time to time. This is, wow, mga fifth dimension. Diba? Mga Laura Nyro stuff. Diba? This is really great music. I'm happy that I have this one. Absolutely happy. Diba? Of course, Miss Saigon, diba? The soundtrack. And this is the foreign pressing. I don't have the local pressing. I've been trying to look for the local pressing. And people say, why do you want to get the local? It sounds terrible. That's besides the point. Back then, audio quality was okay, but you didn't really care too much about it. You just wanted to play the records, diba? As you get older, you have more purchase power, and you get better equipment, better gear, better sound systems. But yes, this is the US pressing, but I wouldn't mind getting a Philippine pressing. So I also do have the cassette versions of Miss Saigon. I do. Diba? Now, all I need to do is just get Lea Salonga to sign this. Oh, Pinoy Disco. Diba? Pinoy Disco. This is a really great album. You know, when I think about those years back in the 70s, kasi pupunta pa kami ng Gapo. Because my dad was friends with Dick Gordon, who was the mayor then. And we'd go to Olongapo and we'd watch bands also there. Well, we didn't really go there to watch bands. It was just one of the side trips that we did. Because my dad would, he'd talk to Dick, Mayor Dick, and then we'd go around. We'd go, the mayor would give us a tour of an aircraft carrier, a nuclear submarine. It's absolutely cool. But then on nights, if we weren't staying at White Rock, which was brand new then, we'd be watching bands. And that's where I first saw the Frictions. And ito yung Soul Jugglers. Diba? Panood natin yan, diba? Hangman. We saw all these bands, saw all of them. They're playing funk. Funk, rhythm and blues, rock and roll. Diba? Galing. And yan. In fact, you'll see later on, you won't see it in this video, kasi sinama I'll share that when I do one on the test presses. I was a huge fan of the Frictions, and they had this song Perwisyo sa Lipunan, and I bought it as a 7-inch single, and I remember it play in Cowboy Grill. And as a kid, grade 6 and grade 7, me and my friends Hec Garde, Michael Co, Bam Kimson, Regio Campo, Jory Ignacio, we were all classmates in Ateneo, and we'd go out and watch. We're grade 6, on Saturdays, when if we didn't have football games, we would go to Makati to 99.5 RT, and we'd hang out there. Imagine, we were kids, And then, lalo na nung lumabas yung sticker ng 99.5 RT, you had to be someone to get that, you know. If you didn't have that sticker of RT, parang iwan ka, di ba? So it was cool. And we became friends with the DJs, no? So, we were meeting a lot of people and getting all these experiences with in music, no? Ayan, so yun yung mga kwento namin noon, no? Ayan, ito soundtrack, Swing It Baby, various artists. This is mostly uh, VST and Company. Di ba? So, Swing, uh, they have VST Galactica here. Step No Step Yes. Yeah, may Helen Gamboa din, di ba? Of course, may Awitin Mo dito, di ba? Their big hit Awitin Mo. So this is the soundtrack of Swing It Baby. Happy to have that one. So the Christmas records, New Minstrels, Mamasko. One time we went to watch them at the Manila Hotel, and then I think it was 8 p.m. when we arrived. Remember, there was curfew back then, curfew at 12, so the shows ended early. And we had arrived a little late because I think the show started early. So we arrived around 8 o'clock. And but the new minstrels had already started their performance. And then at the end of one of their songs, they saw my dad come in along with me. And they called my dad. Acknowledged lang nila. And so that was pretty neat. And I said, oh, my dad's someone. My dad's somebody. So that was pretty cool, right? Diba? Uh, Jessel says, you have way better. I wouldn't know, pare. I don't know. But yes, no, I mean, who would have known that a lot of these local stuff would be valuable? But I just thought of saving them, collecting them, because di ba tayo pare, we have we're fans, eh. So we have a lot of this stuff, di ba? And wait till I get to my CD collection because I have a lot of the bands of the 90s. I have complete stuff, Eraserheads. I have all of it. They're in mint condition. No? Never before played. Kasi, bakit never before played? Kasi dalawa kopya ko. Diba? And then, I'd have two. And I'd even have the cassettes. Diba? Sadly, even I made a mistake. I threw away some of them. You know, kasi said, aanin ko pa to. Diba? Meron naman ako nakatabi na iba. Stupid, diba? I threw them away. But that's another chilling story for another day, man. On to the Christmas stuff. Yan, Pasko. Yeah. Okay. Now these are local pressings of foreign acts. No, Sing Out Sister, 12-inch version of Where in the World. New Order, True Faith. Yeah, yeah, diba? So cool to have this. Well, this is one of the first compilations to come out. No, but the thing is, it says all original punk rock. Pat Benatar wasn't punk rock. Ultravox wasn't punk rock, diba? The Beat wasn't punk rock. All the more the Babies and Nick Gilder, diba? Kung meron man punk rock dito, it's just really Stiff Little Fingers and Gen X, diba? But back then, when they put out stuff like this was your gateway to it too. The first punk album that they put out was the Best of Punk and New Wave Volume 1, and I have it over here. It's there. There were only two countries that put it out. Singapore got it was Singapore that was able to get the license to put out the Sex Pistols, the Ruts, the Skids, Flying Lizards. And after DZRJ started playing all these punk records, Octo Arts had the idea, since they were able to acquire Virgin Records, the license for Virgin Records, they were able to get a copy of yung Singapore releasing the Best of Punk and New Wave. And that's the first ever punk and new wave album that was put out in the Philippines. And they were promoting it heavily on DZRJ. And that was, listening to RJ was like, it was subversive, man. Because, that's, I'd listen to Led Zepp there. And then when I discovered the band Cactus, I would keep pestering them, calling them to play the song called Alaska and all that, diba? So, anyways, ayan, so they came out with that, the best of British punk and new wave, and then they volume one, and then there was a volume two, and then they put out uh, the Great Rock and Roll Swindle. They did. There was a local pressing of the Great Rock and Roll Swindle, and then they came out with a compilation called New Wave. It's not. It wasn't an original compilation. It was put out. It was out elsewhere. I think Netherlands was the first one to put it out. It had the Ramones, Patti Smith Group, the New York Dolls, and I have the original um, Dutch pressing, and I have the Philippine pressing. Can you believe that? I still have it. It's over there. We'll see that later on when we go through my punk and new wave collection. Yeah. But this one, syempre bibilin mo, di ba? Bibilin mo. And yeah, I love this because of Stiff Little Fingers. Like Gotta Get Away. Absolutely amazing. And I started looking for stuff by Stiff Little Fingers. Another record that was put out locally, Heavy Rock. This is Black Sabbath, Rush, Def Leppard, Status Quo, and Thin Lizzy. Yeah, nice to still have this after all these years. This is that record of mine that I bought a long, long time ago. Diba? Okay, this is one of the cool things to have. This was only released here in the Philippines. Okay, and the design is terrible. Look at that cover art; it sucks. It's called New Music, and what makes it special is take a look at this one. Diba? April showers and the big dish. Diba? And even African in White. This is the live version. It was recorded at Reading University, and it came out as a single for China Crisis. No, and back then, it's just so hard to get that a copy of the live single of African in White, and this was your way of acquiring it. And I thought it was amazing, your live version of African in White. But I realized after a while that eye level, our song is just really beautiful. The Care, whatever possessed you. But the winner here is Abandoned Ship by April Showers, as you can see there. Abandoned Ship. Yeah, that's such an expensive record if you can find it. The cheapest that you can buy it is 5,000 bucks. That is if you can buy it. Diba? Ayan. So there's one thing, the last thing I'll show you for tonight's podcast is this one. Yung 7-inch single. And I do have another one. And it's framed. Handog ng Pilipino sa mundo. Diba? I do have a second one of this one. So, just really nice to have it framed for posterity. Diba? Ayan. So, over the next few podcasts, I'll be showing you my collection. I'm not going to be like this shelf here is just all Filipino music. These are all the recent releases from the new millennium from 2000 onwards. Ito yung mga Eraserheads, Evidencel, Itchy Worms, diba? Then all the way to here to the back. And there's a small portion here that are uh, test presses. And nandun yung sinasabi ko ng test press ng Gapo Volume 1 that was given to me as a gift by the Frictions because they realized then I was a big fan. I kept watching them. I kept pestering them. I kept requesting for them to perform perwisyo ng lipunan. Diba? So, ayun. So, they gave me a test press and I still have the test press. Diba? Pakita ko na nga. Hold on a second. Yan. Oh, Gapo Volume 1. Test press. Test press yan. Back then, ang test press, binibigay lang sa mga DJ. Ito yung pinapatugtog ng mga DJ before. Well, ilan lang naman ang magpapatugtog doon? DZRJ lang naman magpapatugtog ng OPM. Diba? So, And there was a time we tried to buy these RJ. My dad was thinking of buying it. They were negotiating, and you know, I would go to RJ quite a lot. So at the time I kept a notebook. I would list all these bands and the members and their albums. I'd create my own version of Discogs, pre-Discogs, but it's all in a notebook. So I had notebooks and notebooks of albums, diba? Track listings, song length, ultimate nerd stuff, diba? And I was doing that as early as I was in fifth grade. Can you imagine that, diba? I wish I was studious, diba, with my studies. Diba? I wish, diba? Ayan. Ay, Christine, si Tin, nanonood, and Tin is in. Tin, nasan ka ba? Qatar, diba? Qatar or somewhere, diba? Ayan. Okay. Who else is watching? Hindi ko alam. Sorry, hindi ko makita eh. Ah, okay. So, ayan. Anyway, that's the test press. No? But when I talk about this again, it'll go with the other test presses that are over there. Yeah. And the one here on top, these are bands with Filipino members. Not necessarily predominantly Filipino members, but basta may Pinoy member. Diba? And the ones over here are underground heavy metal, death metal, and all that stuff. Mga Filipino bands din, diba? And yes, I do listen to that stuff. Wag lang masyadong demonic because or wag demonic kasi but death metal is demonic, isn't it? Yeah, but well, if it assaults my Catholic sensibilities, I just have it, but I don't listen to it, diba? Parang it's I've always been I can't really say I'm the completist. I can't say that because I don't have everything. Diba? But if I can have it, I will. Diba? Not for the sake of having it in my collection, but support na rin sa bands. Diba? Support na rin. Ayun. So we'll also be taking a look at that stuff, but I don't want to talk too much about those. No? Ayan. So I hope you enjoyed what I showed tonight. There are a few others that I did not show yet. Records from that era, from the 1960s to the early 1990s. There's stuff that I haven't shown yet. That'll be for another video. Kasi matagal-tagal pa tayo dito kung nandiyan. Kung nagsimula tayo mga pasado 8:30, it's 10 o'clock. So I've been ranting for over an hour, showing you my stuff and the stories that come along with it. Diba? Anyways, I'll also be uploading this on YouTube, and I really hope that you enjoy this. Diba? So for those who are watching, Nick, impressed on how you kept those jackets in perfectly good shape. Well, like I said, no, if it's in your collection, then it's really worth taking care of. Diba? You should take good care of it. And I've had quite a lot of collections through the years. No? Aside from comic books and records, diba? I've also had books. I even had paper cups. I had a paper cup collection, mga Orange Julius, Cindy's. Believe it or not, I collected all that stuff. Diba? Mga branded ng soft drinks like Team. There was a soft drinks called soda drink called Team back in the day. Teem, Team. Diba? Stuff like that. And I had a massive collection of it. And it was just gathering dust after a while. And so what are you doing with all of this? Diba? Even like Orange Julius, I had all the variants of their cups. I just wanted to save it. And now that I think about it, I wish I didn't agree to have it thrown away. It would have been nice to have and look at. No? So, and my lolo kasi was also a collector. My two lolas, father, mother side. My grandfather, my lolo Luis, sa father's side, he collected stamps and coins. So he was the one who introduced that to me. My grandfather's sa mother's side, my lolo Ramon, he was into magazines. He was into Time, Life magazines, Newsweek, and he had an excellent collection of Coca-Cola paraphernalia. I mean, we're talking about uh, magnets, refrigerator magnets. We're talking about the glasses, and some of which we still have that I minana ko to this day. No? And beautiful glasses na branded ng Coke. Diba? So, but I never, there was just too much. I was collecting too much. So I had to let go of a lot of them, diba? So now it's just really mostly records and CDs, diba? Yung comics, I'm almost at my end sa comic books because I really don't like what's happening today. Diba? I don't like it. Um, I still read comic books. I still buy, but I've gone from 30 titles to about four. Other four na lang left. And I just dropped the X-Men for good. That's the last X-Men that I will ever read. I'm just so done with the storylines and what they've done to this great comic book franchise. No? But this is not about comic books. This is about records. So anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this, and we'll be back. When will I be back? I don't know. Thursday night. And Thursday night we'll go through my 7-inch records, or if not, my compact discs from the 1990s, and that's a lot because I'll have to separate that. I'll separate all the punk and hardcore stuff from the mainstream alternative scene back then, diba? And I've not even touched on the punk, the punk and hardcore stuff, the local. No? We'll get to that later on. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed it, and hit me up if you have any questions. I'll see you guys. All right. Good night and stay safe, everybody.